Now that we have the carcass kind of put together and you've got a structure to work from, we're going to focus now on the drawer. Now, if I pull out the other drawer, the one from the prototype that I showed you before, I wanted to show you the front piece is actually 3/4 of an inch thick, like a lot of our table. However, the side pieces are only a 1/2 inch thick, so the bottom and the side here. So we're going to do them kind of in separate operations. I'm going to save the 3 pieces that are 1/2 inch for later on. We're just going to focus on the front for now. So it's going to be 3/4 of an inch thick. Take your tape measure. I'm going to give you the dimensions that fit with my table, and in theory everybody's will be the same. However, double check. So here's what we're looking at. If I measure from the top of the frame to the top edge, I've got 3 1/4 inches. So I'm simply going to make my drawer 3 inches tall or wide. So we do have a bit of a gap at the top. You never see it because the lid covers it. So it'll help you, it'll allow you to pull the drawer out and it'll slightly go down, but it'll stay fairly flat. Now the width is the other one. You should have 14 inches from the inside of one leg to the inside of the other leg. I want the drawer to be fairly snug. I don't want to have huge gaps on the side. So my drawer front is going to be 1/8 of an inch less than that. So I have 14, so I want it to be 13 7/8. So I want one piece, 3 by 13 7/8. If you want to write it down on a piece of paper like I did, it will help so that you're not always checking your phone or looking somewhere to remember that measurement or remeasuring it. So let's go back and find some molder and cut the front piece. We're back at the upcut saw. Again, it's a very small piece, so I'm looking through the scrap bin. Nothing up here is long enough, but down in the bin below, I did find a nice piece that will do what I needed to do. Now, my exact length is 13 7/8. Let's just round it to 14. So rough length, we'll say cut your piece 15 inches long, and then we'll deal with the width after that. And in my case, since I found this piece in the scrap bin, it's already got a good edge, but do not forget, joint the edge if it doesn't have a good edge. Set the table saw to 3 and cut your piece. Now we're going to cut it to 13 inches 7/8. 13 7/8. Again, I need to trim one end first. Slide down, make the other cut. Now we plane it down to 13/16, but again, we always start at 7/8, at the 14/16. There's 14/16, and it should be 2 passes, 1 on each side. Now we're going to set up the wide belt sander to sand it down to 3/4. 3/4 of an inch is 0.75, and that's what we want this to say when we're done. Because the piece is so small, you can get away with tapping the up arrow 2 times in a row, but you got to tap it quickly. It's tap, tap. If you tap it and then it starts moving the table like it's supposed to, and you haven't tapped it a second time, you only got 1. So it's got to be tap, tap pretty quick, and then you'll go up a little higher. It'll handle it because it's so small. So 1, 2, then it's going to do 10 thousandths instead of 5 thousandths. Keep doing that until you get down to 0.750. Here at this big white round router table we have, this is set up for drawers. That's why we built this. And we usually are using 1/2 inch thick material, this plywood, and it looks like this. You can see the plies right here. And we're going to come to router 1. This is labeled rabbiting bit, router number 1, it says right here. But I've got 2 different little jigs with it. This one is for 1/2 inch thick material, this plywood, which we're not using on this project. This is for bigger projects. For ours, our front is 3/4 inch thick. So this jig says 3/4 thick right there, so you can tell the difference. All we're gonna do is take our drawer front, and we're gonna get a rabbet here and another one here. So the side that you like best, now this one has a bigger knot and a small one. I want the small one facing out. Whatever side you like faces up. So I'm gonna put it down, we're gonna do along the short end. All we do is put this jig behind it and on top. The whole idea behind this jig is when I run it through the router, which is spinning, it's gonna wanna tear out the back. Once it hits the back end, it's gonna rip a lot of wood off. We don't want that to happen because you're going to see it. So I put this behind, and because there's no gap between them, there's nowhere for anything to tear off. So this is a reinforcer. It keeps it from ripping out, and it helps hold it down on the table while you're cutting. Turn it on right here. Hold it down and push. And then go ahead and pull it back again. Do the same on the other side. Now you saw that I went back and forth a couple of times, and in reality, this is pretty much the only router you can do that on. You never want to go backwards on a router that is making a true groove with pieces on the side. But that helps clean it out and makes a nice edge, and I have 0 tear out, which is exactly what we wanted.